Happy Tuesday.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday. I am going to venture into something I've never talked about before or even did any research or anything. I am a such an anti-drug person. I've maybe smoked pot twice in my entire life, and I just am I've it's just never crossed my mind, but my children talk to me a lot about hallucinogenics, psilocybin, and specifically, I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm not prescribing. I'm not for it or against it. I'm just telling you what I've been learning. So I have one child that went to Iraq, and he says a lot of times that they prescribe hallucinogenics for people who have PTSD. And so I thought, you know what? I'll start reading a little bit about it. So psilocybin is not the one they prescribe for PTSD as much as ibogaine. But we're not going to really talk about ibogaine because I haven't had a lot of time to research that. But I just want people to know for sure that I am not saying go do this or don't do it. But I am saying that there are a lot of accounts of people who have really had amazing outcomes after taking it. So what it is, it's magic mushrooms. I mean, we used to call them shrooms, and so it's kind of fun. And there are a few states where it is legal. Colorado is completely legal, which surprise, surprise, right? And I'm from Colorado. My whole family still lives there. Every time I go there, it just smells like pot everywhere. It's gross. But pot's legal in most states now. But shrooms specifically are legal in Colorado to just do as you wish. And then California, it is deprioritized in certain places. So I suppose they're not going to go out and try to find you if you do it. Same with Massachusetts and Michigan. Oregon, it is legal for medicinal use. So there are a few places where it's completely legal. Can you imagine just being out there driving a car, just
Yeah,
like
like there has to be
in
some kind
out, like
of, and like, what are the effects of it?
so the effects are, you hallucinate, you see vivid colors, you feel very relaxed, but supposedly it helps a lot with depression and some of the other things, anorexia, alcohol abuse, opiate addiction. So they're doing a lot of research. I think currently you can go to Mexico and actually have these treatments, but we don't have that here. There are places where you can go and have what's called a sitter. It's called a trip sitter. So when you go to do your trip, this person sits with you to make sure that, you don't jump out a window or whatever. I don't know what happens when you do it, but they sit with you to make sure that your trip is how it's supposed to be. So
So
other examples.
how long do the
Go ahead.
effects last?
They can last forever. Like, they can stop drinking, they can stop being depressed. So the effects stays in your body, but the actual immediate effects they say from 10 to 3 days, 10
Oh my
hours to 3
gosh.
days. Yeah, nausea, specific things like that. Kind of like when you get old like me and you get drunk, it takes you 3 or 4 days to recover now. It's probably the same thing. But mushroom contains psilocybin, which is a naturally occurring psychoactive hallucinogenic compound. So it's all natural. There's no synthetic to it or anything like that. I mean, I suppose God made it. So some are being investigated for their therapeutic potential. So I
Do
think
you know
it's
where they come from, right? Where these mushrooms come from?
It's manure,
where they
isn't it?
Yeah, it's from cow, like a cow pasture.
yeah,
The mushrooms
yeah,
grow from the poop, the
yeah,
manure, and that's where yeah. I
yeah.
think that's
In
probably
the
what
dark,
happens. That's the
in the dark,
chemicals maybe from their manure.
probably in the
Wow.
dark, right? They're doing research and hoping that it can help cure Alzheimer's. So
Wow.
I thought, you know what? I really, really hope. I think that probably, I mean, this has been going on since like 1958. They used to use this in France a long time ago. And they did it for 30 years to treat depressed people. And they stopped it. The government stopped it. Now, I think probably governments are probably stopping it because, that's a cure. There's no money in the cure, right? And they want to
Mm-hmm.
they want to keep people on meds. So if they're taking these psilocybin and other hallucinogenics that are healing them, then they won't take opiates and they won't, there's no money in
Well,
that.
they used to also do shock therapy too, which that would
I
be.
think that was prior to 1958, but yeah, some people could still use a little shock therapy. Um,
Well, I think I was telling you that I was listening to 2.5 The Bone, and John Senna was talking about ketamine therapy.
That's the same.
Yeah, and he said did it before he went to an event or something like that, and it almost like the after effects gives you like a euphoric effect, but he said it just gives you so much clarity of different things, or even if you go in just about one thing, it just gives you more clarity on it.
Right, that's true. And some people, like, you don't have to just go in and have a trip here and there, whatever, to be cured forever. People microdose. So there are people that take
Mm-hmm.
very small amounts every day or once a week or however it's prescribed. But there are so many people and accounts of people saying that it has changed their life forever.
Now, would you do it?
I don't know. I'm not depressed and I don't have Alzheimer's. I'm not making this a funny thing, but I don't have anorexia, which sometimes I wish I did for like a few
What about just for
weeks, but
clarity?
I don't know. It'd have to be really bad. I'm really, really terrified of drugs.
I would love to do it just to see if it truly did something, but that one half a gummy I took one time and like I didn't have any control of my brain.
Yeah. I'm a control
It
freak and that's
freaked me
probably,
out. It freaked
yeah.
me because with drinking, you kind of just, you
Yeah.
know when you're
Yeah. When
there.
you get to be our age, we know how much we can drink and when to stop. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They also say that they're starting to treat it for cluster headaches. So maybe, there are people that take Botox and things like
Yeah.
that for that. So, this stuff is natural. I mean, Botox is poison, and people are, so I think there's a reason why they don't want it to be legalized, because it cures and it cures naturally rather than synthetically. So, but I just don't know. I mean, I suppose if I had a sitter and
Yeah.
I knew that I wasn't gonna like walk off the cliff or something weird, but I don't know, having vivid dreams like that and seeing all the color that people say they see. And there's one account of an Indian doctor. He lives here, but he's from India, and he got diagnosed with cancer. And it was kind of an innocuous cancer. It wasn't like they gave him a death sentence or anything, but they said, you're going to need chemo and this. And he said, I went into a very deep, dark depression. I couldn't get out of bed. I didn't have any will anymore. I wasn't seeing patients. And he's like, all along, I know that I can fight this, but I could not get myself back to, a positive thinking. So he went and did this one time, and he's like, and it did give me so much mental clarity. It made me want to fight the cancer. It made me think I can do this, not, oh, this is a death sentence. It just changed the whole outlook of the way he was
Oh,
handling life. So, hey, if I ever got to that point, maybe I would do that.
maybe we should just
I
have a
mean, how
party.
clear do I want to be?
We'll have my mom be our sitter and we'll just do it here.
They'll sit there and laugh at us. I mean, how clear do we really want to be? Like, you gotta, the devil right?
Yeah, but I think that there's probably things in our everyday life that we don't even realize that we struggle with or something like that where maybe we just need that extra boost to be like, "Oh, okay. Maybe I just need to think of it this way or just something." I don't know. What do you think, Krista?
She's done it.
I have. I've done it just once. It was right after college.
And what did it do for
I
you?
was it was I don't even know how long it lasted, honestly. It was basically, and this is so stupid. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was with two guys that I worked with in a restaurant, and
Always where you get the drugs in the
it's a
restaurant.
restaurant, yeah, a restaurant, but for real. I did some stupid stuff, and they were like, "Hey, we have some chocolate covered shrooms. Do you want to do this with us tonight?" And I said, "Okay." You know, so I go to one of their apartments, and we take this nasty. It tastes just awful. Like it makes you sick to your stomach,
It tastes
basically.
like
Like one of
BS.
them. What's that?
Tastes like BS. Like
Yeah.
literally,
Well,
literal
yeah. I
hell.
mean, it messes with your stomach. So one of them actually threw up because it made him sick to his stomach. I can't even put into words what it felt like, honestly. It just felt like an out of body experience. Like
Yeah.
at one point he had a tiger head on his wall. Like it was like a plaster one, like just a decorative one. And I kid you not, its mouth was moving, his hair was waving, like it was glowing. Everything that was white in his apartment, because we couldn't turn the lights on because your eyes are very sensitive to light. So everything white in his apartment was glowing. Like it was a black light was on, but there was no lights on. And then we went outside. We couldn't leave the house. Like we couldn't leave the apartment because you're just so messed up. We
So
went
you wouldn't
outside.
drive, so people
No,
wouldn't. Okay.
no. You can't.
But were you
You're
cognizant enough?
hallucinating.
Were you cognizant enough to say we can't leave?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you could you know that you're in control, but you're not in control. Like I don't know how to describe it, but we went outside and the trees were moving and they just were like swirling around
Did you
and
feel
then
calm or did you feel anxious?
calm.
So it didn't matter. It didn't bother you that everything was moving and flashing and coming at you.
No. No, you were
Okay.
just mind blown the whole time. We literally sat on the couch and we were watching, there was like white fuzz on the TV and I don't know how long we sat there and watched it. Like it felt like 3 hours, but it may have been like 15 minutes or whatever, but we were just, and then we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, how long have we been sitting here? Cause time just
Just
stands
froze.
still when you're doing it.
So
Yeah, they do
how long
say
was it? Did you know?
I think it was a good at least 5, 6, 7 hours. I think I
Really?
left there in the day, yeah, when the sun came up. When
Wow.
I came to, yeah,
they
it
do
was,
say that some of the side effects are dilated pupils, so I guess that would be
yes,
why you're so sensitive.
yep.
Drowsiness, headaches, increased heart rate, blood pressure and temperature, a lack of coordination, muscle weakness, nausea, and yawning.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember yawning, but you're just really relaxed.
Well, I've
Yeah, I
done
guess you just have
research on yawning because I was curious one time what makes you yawn. And they say that it's because you need like oxygen to your brain. So maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
just your brain's like,
you're so calm.
something's
Yeah.
happening here. You need to
Right.
yawn. Get me some
All your
air.
systems slow down.
Yeah.
And she was up all night. That'll make you yawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and I guess it would be a little scary too because I mean mushrooms can kill you, right? I mean there are poisonous mushrooms. So how do you
Mm-hmm.
how do you
Well,
just
don't
trust
go
a
out in your
person
yard and
saying,
pick any. Don't.
"Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't do that." There are other examples of hallucinogens are PCP, ecstasy, acid, LSD, peyote, morning glory. There is a place in Tucson, Arizona where you can go. Let me see what it's called. I have it right here. You can go and it's in a completely controlled environment. It's called the Peyote Way of the Church. And it's a
Hmm.
The
it's
church.
yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, peyote is Native American, right? It's all you see all the Westerns and they're all sitting there smoking peyote, but I don't ever see them go on a trip. They just make it like it's just pot or something, but they're not. But this is a church that has like something to do with also the Mormon church.
That was a lot.
It's located on 160 acres of wilderness in the southeastern Arizona. The Peyote Way Church of God was founded in 1977. Its mission is to preserve and protect peyote and endangered species and legally offer this holy sacrament to seekers in a safe setting. So I suppose they're trip sitters.
I think I'd rather
There was a
You should go
be,
show.
there.
I think I'd rather be like not with someone else taking care of me that I don't know. I think that would make me nervous.
Yeah, because and if you do stronger ones like what is it called? Ibadine. I don't know why I can't remember that name. Ibogaine. If you do stronger ones and stuff like that, you have a completely out of body experience. You puke and your body eliminates everything. So it's
There was a
crazy.
show on Hulu. Of course, it was fiction with Nicole Kidman. I think it was called Seven
Oh
Strangers,
yeah.
and that's what it was about. They went to like this retreat and they were microdosing because they had some sort of trauma in their lives, and they wanted to like face it. Like I think one couple like lost a kid or something, and they were blaming each other. But yeah, it was
That
really
was a crazy
bizarre.
show.
That show was really weird. Yeah. And Nicole Kidman was a freak in that, like of course. But it was good. It was interesting.
So
Yeah.
would you do it
Just
again?
to go back to your hallucinogens, you said ecstasy is? I don't think it was.
So you've done ecstasy too. So do we need to have an
Yes.
intervention?
This was this was many, many years ago. This was like 20 plus years ago.
Okay.
So would you do it
It's
Yeah.
just
again?
it no,
Ecstasy is
No.
I've never when I think of ecstasy, I think of my nieces who go to those raves.
yes, that's exactly what it is. But I would never like being on it is fun, but coming down from it and you don't know what it's laced with, like it
And you
depends
stay
on.
up all night, right?
Yes.
Ecstasy is really like,
Yeah. And then you're when you're coming down, it's so awful. Like you just think you're gonna die basically because your body gets really cold. You feel like you have the flu. Like it's
oh
because
gosh.
again, it depends on what it's laced with. Like it could be laced with coke, it could be laced with
Oh,
heroin, it could be laced with anything. Like I mean, nowadays it
This
could
is
be
why I'm
laced with meth.
terrified.
Yeah, no, right. I wouldn't ever do that again.
what about
Ever.
mushrooms?
Maybe.
Maybe we should do it as an
I think
experiment
I
for our
think we should do it
podcast.
for as an experiment. Yes, with my mother watching and us protected. Well,
I would trust Eddie. Eddie would
yes,
I
lose her
would
mind. She's
trust
like,
Eddie.
what are you
exactly.
doing?
Yeah,
Not only
Stop
would I trust
that.
we
Eddie,
can't make
I
fun
would,
of her. She'll get mad and leave us.
No.
yeah. Not only would I, yeah, that's true.
She'll be like,
Not only
screw
would
all
I
of you. I'm
trust her,
out.
I would trust her. Plus, she wouldn't be like, it wouldn't be somebody that I know that could say, well, you did this and you said that and you did this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you just don't know what you're going to do.
we'll lock the cats up so
Well,
you
you
don't like
have.
eat them or anything.
No, I mean, you have control. Like, you're not going to, like, it's not like The Exorcist where you're out, like you're
I think a
freaking out or anything.
PCP and jumping out a window and
Right.
stuff.
No,
I
no,
think
no.
you can
No,
fly.
no, no. Mushrooms don't make you, like, do stuff like
So
that.
like you literally know what you're doing. It's just your head
Yeah.
is like wonky.
Yeah. It's basically, and
That
you
makes me
see
nauseous
things.
thinking about it.
Well, it's just your brain just because of the chemicals, it's just seeing things. And it's not like you see things that don't exist. Like for the example, like the statue, it was moving, but the statue actually existed, but it was just altered because of my state of mind,
See,
All right.
in your life now, because you did that, it's probably made you so normal.
Totally normal. Totally.
We're all screwed up, but because you did
Oh,
shrooms
yeah.
one time with your friends, you're normal.
I'm so normal. Yeah.
Well, now we got to
Anyway,
find a
I
dealer
thought
to
it.
get us shrooms.
I think it's
I'm sure there's
it's
plenty out there.
a really important thing to bring up. I think it's, if it's this helpful to people who have PTSD or anorexia or,
Yeah.
I just think
Depression.
it's worth
Right.
the conversation of exploration.
Yeah.
Not specifically for me right now, but I have a child that has PTSD and he talks to me all the time about it. I'm like, well, then why haven't you done it? It's probably like pulling that trigger is a little bit, nerve-wracking.
It's
Yeah.
scary. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. So
I wasn't
that was
scared because I was young and stupid, but
right. Exactly. Yeah. As you get
Well,
older, you get a little more inhibited.
further conversation because it may just be research.
Right.
We can record ourselves and see what's going on, and then determine whether or not we want to use it later.
That'll get some TikTok views.
Oh my gosh. Look at these old broads.
Yeah. A trip down memory lane.
Oh my.
All right, Krista, what do you got for us?
Well, I was just doing a little research, and of course, I was finding all kinds of weird things to talk about. But I found this one. I thought it was pretty interesting. I'd never heard of it before, and I don't know if anyone else really has. But it's called the Florida Man Games. It's basically you join ranks of the world's worst superheroes. It's basically Florida's take on the Olympics in the most non-serious way possible.
With Florida men? That's
What's
scary.
that?
With Florida men? That's kind of scary.
Well, that's the thing. That's why it's so ridiculous because it's Floridians. Like, because Florida, there's always some dum-dum wrestling an alligator or whatever, and that's a Florida thing. So it's basically a showcase of one-of-a-kind, tongue-in-cheek talents every Florida man was born with. The games originated in St. Augustine, but last year was the inaugural games, and then this year it was so big that they had to move it to a fairgrounds because they had so many people attending it. They have like
Where's it being
bleachers
held?
now. St. John's Fairgrounds, wherever that is. I think that's up in Jacksonville somewhere. I think
so.
and it's hosted by
Isn't it
two
called the
Floridian.
Redneck Riviera, right?
Basically. It's hosted by two Floridian comedians. I've never heard of them, but I'm sure they're pretty funny. And the games are presented by Flow Grown, which we all know that brand.
Who are the comedians? We'll give them a shout out.
Josh Wicks Robinson and Kevin Flynn.
Okay.
And the proceeds go to benefiting the Jimmy Jam Community Outreach. It's a nonprofit that helps local residents in need. So at least it goes to charity.
And Lord knows they have a lot of need up there after this past hurricane season. So
Right.
that's good. Good for them.
Yep. So here are the requirements to take part of this. You have to have, there's only 12 teams that will be accepted to compete, each representing each city. You have to compete with a team. Teams must consist of 3 to 5 members, and they have to be 18 or older, and one of them needs to be 21 or older. And you must have one woman on your team. That was the new rule for this year. Last year were all men. Now you have to have one woman on your team, and you have to be a Florida resident. So you have to prove that you live here. The prize is a snakeskin championship belt,
Ew.
of course, and
They probably
$5,000
killed it
cash.
themselves.
What's that?
They probably killed the snake and,
Yeah.
pulled the
And
skin.
bragging rights. So you get cash, a belt, and bragging rights. And then here are the team names for this year. So it's already happened. It happened March 1st already. So, but here are the team names that competed this year. Ball Busters, they're from Gainesville, and that's the first all-woman team.
Oh,
Good.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Hanky Spanky, they're from St. Augustine, and they are the return champions from last year. Cooter Commandos, they're from Inverness. Storm Surge, they're from Jacksonville. Screamin' Eagles, Fort Myers. Amphetamines, St. Augustine Beach. Flawed Man, and it's FLAWD, Man, Pensacola. El Diablo and the Firecrackers, Alachua County. Red-Eyed Gator Huggers, DeLand. Hatchet Pro Wrestling, St. John's.
So no one
And
from
here,
here?
no. Maybe next year.
Could be us.
Here are some
We'll
of
do
the.
our trip and put our team together.
Could be us.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You might reconsider once I tell you what the games
Okay.
are.
Oh God, yeah.
So the first one of them is Eat the Butt Challenge.
Okay, yeah, I'm out.
Competitors must finish their pork butt platter in the fastest time to place in the initial bracket. So you have to, it's like a pie eating contest, but it's pork butt. Weaponized pool noodle mud duel. Yeah, competitors go head to head in a muddy Florida style jousting competition with pool noodles.
That sounds fun.
That would be fun.
Evading arrest obstacle course. This is pretty funny. Competitors are chased by police through the obstacle course after committing a series of crimes. Grab a gator and get through the swamp before you save the frozen iguana to win the challenge. This was the most anticipated event during last year's game. This one's funny. Florida Sumo Cage Match. Conquer the Florida Man Games chain link cage as competitors try to knock down their opponents or spill the beer from their pitcher. The loser can still put points on the board by chugging their opponent's remaining beer. This one's really funny too. Hurricane Party Prep Grocery Aisle Brawl.
Oh, jeez.
Floridians must battle it out against each other to get the last of the hurricane prep and party supplies left on the shelf.
That's good practice.
Yes, yeah,
Sure.
oh yeah. And then human beer pong, which is basically a large version of beer pong. And then there are things that attendees can do as well. State of emergency, wrestling, watch the lawnmower race, gator shows and selfies. Yeah. Ripley's Halzapoppin' Sideshow, which is an audacious stage production, features a rock and roll circus sideshow of unparalleled wonder and amazement.
Oh boy, straight from Gibsonton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a Ninja Nation obstacle course, so you can be like one of those ninjas on TV. A mechanical gator. So instead of a mechanical bull, you can ride a mechanical gator.
That sounds fun.
Of course you
Yeah.
can.
Lower to the ground. You don't have a
Right.
fall.
Axe throwing, and then there's the Ocala knocker ball, where you can go in those big balls and you run and you can bounce off each other.
That sounds fun.
And then there's a joust. So yeah, it usually goes on in March. This
That
year was
sounds
March
better
1st.
than the Strawberry Fest to me.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Florida Man Games. That's it.
We may have to go see it next year. That's
I
kind
know
of
it'd be
funny.
fun just to attend to watch.
Yeah. That's kind of funny. I'd be curious to see what the pit section looks like.
Right?
How much beer do you think they sell during that?
My
Oh
God.
boy.
Yeah.
Boy.
That sounds fun. I love that. I love that about Florida. It's not so stuffy and,
People don't take themselves seriously, you know?
fun.
You have to.
Yeah.
I've done challenges like that. I've done obstacle course challenges, and people do, some of them take themselves really seriously and they do it to, beat a specific time. And then some of them just don't care. Like the
It's mostly
costumes are
fun.
funny, and
Yeah.
it's just it's really fun though to do those
Did you
mud
ever,
challenges.
Krista, did you ever do the Golf Gate Olympics? Were you ever?
No.
They had when I first moved down here, so it was probably like 2012, 2013, and Golf Gate. It was when Bada Bing was still there, and there was like a cut through the bar. You could get to the other side. They had
Tell people that don't know about Golfgate,
yeah,
our audience.
Golf Gate is an area here that is just lined with bars. So it's like four things that are lined with bars, and they had the Olympics. It was a lot of fun. Like one, you would have to roll a keg, and you'd have to ride a little tricycle, and it was a lot of fun. It was,
That sounds like fun. I
yeah,
would do that.
yeah, it was.
There's a lot of great restaurants in Golfgate too, and a lot of new restaurants like Mouthhole.
Mouthful
We love
barbecue.
Mouthful.
Yeah.
All right. So anything else, Krista?
That's all I got.
Okay.
That was good.
All right. So I am going to be talking about John Pelletier. Do you guys know who this is? Heard of him?
No.
So John Pelletier is the Maui police chief. He's been the Maui police chief since December 20.
Oh, this year or just this December?
December
So after the fires.
December 2021, he became
Oh, okay.
police chief.
Okay.
Prior to that, he was with the Las Vegas Metro Police for 22 years, and he actually rose to
Wow.
captain. Yeah. So what's interesting about this guy is that he was the incident commander during the 2017 Vegas shooting. Okay.
Oh, I see
where
where this is going.
you know what happened there, right?
That's the show the
The
mass
Jason
shooting.
Aldean thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So he was part of that. And he, of course, he was in Maui as the police chief when the fires happened. And
my.
he was named in a wild civil suit with Diddy, where it's claiming that he arrested people in Vegas. He arrested a girl and took the girl who, I don't know how old she was. And then there was a John Doe and a Jane Doe that he took to Diddy to have the girl raped by Diddy
He's a
and have
bad
the
guy.
two watch. So I mean, let's talk about this, right? So this guy is in Vegas for one of the biggest
kills.
shootings that's
Yeah.
ever
What's
happened.
the coincidence of that?
Right. And then he's in Maui, and now he's tied to Diddy. Okay. So he has had, here's some controversies that came up about him. So early gripes, he yelled at staff and got 8 complaints. Investigation found some truth, no punishment. Just told him to chill out. That was in 2022. He was also accused of blocking escape routes during the fires, hiding the death counts. Body cams showed cops knew of deaths early, but he says he didn't. And of course, the Diddy drama, it says that he posed as a sheriff, forced folks at gunpoint from Vegas to Cali, says that he says that he has receipts proving that he was other places. But
Where is he originally from? Does it say? Is there
a,
some track record of him prior to Vegas being in Vegas?
he actually he moved to Vegas when he was 17 years old.
Okay.
So he's been there forever. I don't think that born in Buffalo, New York, moved to Vegas at 17 and now lives in Maui.
That's a lot of a coincidence there.
Ridiculous amounts, right? So Vegas cover-ups are saying that, theorists are obviously saying that he burned multiple shooter evidence, that there was more than one person as part of a Fed agenda. We don't know.
I mean, he's got to be working for someone, right?
Right. I mean,
right.
And then the
For
Maui
real.
fires claims that he trapped people or let elites burn for profit. And that's coming from the DEW, which is direct energy weapons talk. And then the Diddy fixer, some are calling him a puppet for big shots, tying Vegas, Maui, and Diddy into globalist scheme and FBI ties. They're saying that worked with FBI post fires. Conspiracy folks are saying that it's a sign of deeper control. And I mean,
Well, we need to write a letter to Cash Patel to tell him to look into this dude.
honest to God, I mean, this guy, like, how do you even? And he's
How's he still in work? How's he still
Exactly.
has a job?
He is still the Maui police chief, and they're saying that it's baseless. Everything's baseless. The lawsuit is still ongoing.
That's a lot of coincidences.
If he's in the
Same.
lawsuit, why is he still employed? He should be on suspension until
Yeah,
they figure
something.
this out.
Because they
Until
said there is no hard evidence beyond the plaintiff's words.
please
That's what they're
Wow.
saying. I mean,
Well, that's
it's
because he's got somebody very powerful behind him.
under his thumb
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I mean, it is just so crazy that, and I never heard about it. Jamie saw an X post from a guy. His name is Nick Sortaro.
Yeah, I've seen
His-
that. I've seen him.
I'll
Yeah.
put his name in the show notes, but yeah, he posted it, and that's the first time I ever heard of it. Jamie forwarded it to me because he knows I love the whole conspiracy.
Well, this kind of
theory
goes
stuff.
along with what we talked about earlier too, about, just all the stuff that is just so magically put together and happening. There is something going on behind the scenes that's just pure evil, and just like the LA wildfires, the Maui wildfires, like that stuff doesn't just it's not so much negligence over and over and over again that
right.
take
No,
out
and
a
especially
whole-
like the LA fire. Well, now there's fires everywhere happening, right? But like the LA fires,
Jesus is coming, I'm telling you.
the LA fires, did you ever look at the route that the LA fires took and then looked at the route that the new rail system that they want to put in takes?
Yeah, it's not I
Literally the
What a
it's not-
coincidence.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not coincidence, I think, anymore. I think there is something very evil lurking in this.
People.
Why else would somebody
People.
like AOC and Jasmine Crockett, the absolute dumbest of the species, rise to such power if there's not somebody, something, some evil thing pushing them there?
Well, and that just came up too with AOC getting mad at Chuck Schumer for not shutting down the government. It's like, why?
There's something evil
yeah.
going on there.
Yeah.
I mean, they've literally just are pushing our country toward socialism, communism. It's probably that whole
Not gonna
globalist
work.
thing that I try not to get into because it scares the absolute heck out of me, except that I believe that God is in control, and I know that, we don't have to worry about that stuff because we have Jesus. But I do think that, that whole globalist thing, I don't know how we got here from the fires, but that whole one world government, one world globalist, that that's their complete agenda, and that's what Revelations talks about. So, I don't think that's conspiracy. That is in the Bible. If you believe the Bible, this is kind of what is unfolding right now.
Well, that's exactly what they said in here. I mean, they even said the word globalist. So, I mean, it's just, I was just blown away by this. It's just, I don't know.
Wow. That does make you go, wow.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah. Some
Yeah.
scary stuff.
It is truly scary, but
This is BS.
My BS today it's along the lines of what we just talked about there's something evil lurking in our worlds, but more specifically close to our heart, our country. I just cannot figure out for the life of me why one single judge can make all the decision for what our president. How does a judge turn a plane around that is full of people who are here to rape, brutalize, murder, kill, sell drugs? Why is the left on the wrong side of this issue? Why does a judge have so much power? It is infuriating, and it's the same judge. It's an Obama appointed judge. Fine. You want to believe that judges have no personal commitment to anything. You want to believe that because that's what they're supposed to be, but it's just not showing that way. I just feel like the left does not want people safe. It's part of taking over the globalists. They need bad guys to run around and murder and rape and kill and pillage in order to complete their globalist agenda.
what state is that judge out of?
He's from San Francisco, but he lives in DC.
Well, there you go. There's your answer.
And he has a history of undermining Trump's border security issues. Like, so this isn't the first time. He's also the guy who let Kevin Kleinsmith off, who was totally involved in the whole Russia conspiracy thing. So he's just clearly has Trump derangement syndrome. Maybe the psilocybin can help get rid of Trump derangement syndrome.
I mean,
They
you
need
have to. I don't understand how, we had Jamie and I did an immigration series on
Yes, it was really
the
good.
reasonable arguments, right? And one thing the lady said, Rosemary Jenks, she said, if I commit a crime, she said, my kids aren't coming to jail with me.
Right.
Like, everybody is so worried about these immigrants and breaking up families and everything like that.
Well, and half the time it's not even their family. They're random kids that they've sent over,
Exactly. It's so
It's all
disturbing.
propaganda. It is. So that's my BS story. I don't understand how some single random judge can say, turn the plane around to the president of the United States who has, I don't care who says he doesn't have a mandate, he has a mandate. And I feel safer already just having those 300 people out of this country.
Right.
It was
You don't
funny.
have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Did
I
you
love
see
that video.
see the video when they were bringing them out of the plane?
Yeah, and they're
Like,
all bent over,
and
and then they're shaving their head.
it's
And
funny because it did actually look like a movie, and
Yeah.
then it went into who they actually were. That kind of shocked me
Why is
because
anybody against that? Why is anybody against deporting the guy who is promoting for Hamas? Like, I don't understand. He's not an American citizen. I don't care if he knocked somebody up while he was here. I
no,
couldn't
he
give.
he does have a green card because we did talk about that on the
Right, but
immigration
he's
series
still
too.
not.
But
He's
he
still
should
not an
be kicked
American
out
citizen. Yes.
regardless. But I mean, but we
When
have
you're here
Congress
on a green
people.
card, you should be on your best
We
behavior,
have
not promoting
Congress
violence.
people who are in support of other countries.
I know Ilhan Omar, for one. She shouldn't even be here either. She should be
Yeah.
gone. She married her brother in order to stay in the country. She should be gone.
Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my BS story today. I don't want to put a damper on everything, but I do think it's BS that one judge can usurp the authority of the U.S. government.
Agreed. All right, Krista, what do you got?
BS is just the weather. I'm over this weather. I'm over the hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. I'm just,
It's
and
gonna
then
be
the
80
pollen.
today, just because it was 54
Yeah,
this morning.
but I was freezing this morning. Like, I'm over like the 30-degree shift. Like, it's 50 in the morning and then 80 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then the pollen is ridiculous. Like,
The
I
wind
tried to
was
open
what was
my
crazy. The wind,
Oh, the wind was
35-mile-an-hour
awful.
winds. I'm glad we didn't have hurricanes. Thank God. I feel so terrible for all those people in the, those Midwest states or whatever.
Well, we had a
Central.
few
Yeah, the
tornadoes in
tornadoes.
Florida.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crazy.
right.
You're right. It's
But
crazy.
the pollen, I opened my sunroof in my car the other day just to get some air, and I just saw a cloud of pollen come into my car, and I said, forget that.
It's just so gross.
It's like, I don't, like, half the time you're like, am I sick or do I have allergies? You just don't know,
Go with allergies.
Yeah.
I don't know, for a whole week, maybe.
It's been awful.
For the month of
Everything's
March.
in
Didn't
blue.
we already talk about this? All the seasons in the month of March.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's my BS.
My BS, I'm going to go back to menopause because I noticed another thing that's happening to me, and it's that I can't spell. Like, I used to be the best speller. If I were in spelling bees, I would have won spelling bees. Like, my friend Laura, who I hope you guys meet one day, she and I were childhood friends. We grew up on the same street. And our English teacher, we were, I think I forget, 4th or 5th grade, told us to go to the library and learn a special skill. So we decided to teach ourselves sign language. And she reminded me of this. I didn't even remember this, but we had a spelling test and she was having trouble spelling a word. And we were across the row from each other or across the room from each other. And she asked me the word and I spelled it out in sign language. Not now.
So you cheated.
Who needs to know how to spell in this day and age?
I helped a friend, Krista.
You cheated.
I helped a friend.
I know. My
but
friend,
I can't spell for shit.
Shout out to my friend Christine. She said we should call it, instead of calling it menopause, we should call it femopause.
Hey, I just, stop taking things away from me.
Yeah.
Let me keep some of my skills that I had all my life. I'm sitting there to thank God for typing. Like, thank God that the typewriter, the
spell check.
The typewriter. Thank God the typewriter.
You did
typewriter.
Yeah. Thank God the computer does spell check for sure. It's like, come on.
GPT. I know. Yeah.
The struggle.
That's all I got. You guys have anything else for today?
I'm good. It was a great podcast. Thank you, ladies.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Have a great
Bye.
week. Jesus loves you.